Okay, let's talk about one of the most unique and beautiful houseplants you can possibly own, the butterfly plant. It is absolutely stunning, but let's be honest, it can be notoriously tricky. So, how do you get it to really thrive? Well, we're going to dig into the notes of a gardener named Ang, who figured out one simple, golden rule that honestly changes the entire game.
And wow, you can immediately see why it's so captivating, right? I mean, look at it. The leaves, with that distinct shape and those gorgeous maroon markings, they look exactly like a group of butterflies, just frozen in midair. It's like a living piece of art, which is exactly why so many people, including Ang's partner, just fall in love with it.
But here's the catch. For all its beauty, the butterfly plant, or christia-obcordata if you want to get technical, has a bit of a reputation for being, well, a little dramatic. A lot of plant lovers bring one of these home, all excited, only to watch those vibrant leaves just droop and fade away. So what is the secret? How do you keep this thing looking as amazing as the day you got it?
Well, according to Ang's direct observations from the garden, success boils down to one single fundamental rule. You could forget a lot of the other complicated advice you've heard. If you just get this one thing right, your plant is going to be so happy.
That's it. Seriously, that's the golden rule. It's not some fancy fertilizer or a really complex lighting setup. It is simply about water, both the water in the air around it and the water in its soil.
So what this really means is that this plant, like so many that come from tropical climates, does not want to dry out. I mean, ever. It craves a consistently damp environment that feels just like its native home. You got to think damp soil, humid air, a constant state of hydration is the goal here.
Okay, so a rule is just a statement until you have some proof, right? And this is where Ang's notes get really, really interesting, because the proof didn't come from a book. It came from watching the plants in two very different real-world situations.
The first big clue was the weather. During a monsoon season with near-daily rain, the plant just absolutely exploded with growth. All that constant rain provided the super high humidity and the perpetually moist soil that it adores, and the result was that dense, beautiful foliage that makes this plant so special. But the real aha moment, the game-changing insight, came from a total accident. See, Ang was growing two of these plants in very different spots in the garden, and this created a fascinating and completely unexpected side-by-side comparison. Now, everything you read says this plant needs bright, indirect light, and sure enough, one of Ang's plants was in those exact conditions, and it was doing great. No surprise there. But the other plant was sitting in scorching, direct tropical sun, conditions that should have absolutely fried it, and yet it was also thriving. This went against all the common advice you hear for this plant. So this just begs the question, how? How in the world could a plant that supposedly needs gentle, shady light not only survive but actually flourish in extreme heat and sun? Well, the answer wasn't about the light at all. It was about something else entirely. And this brilliant discovery is what illustrates that golden rule perfectly. The key wasn't about hiding the plant from the sun. It was all about counteracting the sun's effects with a relentless focus on moisture. So for that plant sitting out in the hot sun, Ang had put in place two very simple, super low-tech hacks. These two little tricks were the only difference between the two plants, and they were single-handedly responsible for its incredible success. So here's exactly how it worked. First, Ang scattered a layer of those lightweight clay pebbles, LECA balls, on top of the soil. These things are amazing because they act like a sponge, soaking up water and releasing it slowly. They basically create a moisture shield that stops the sun from baking the soil dry. And second, the pot was sitting in a saucer of water. This allowed the plant to constantly drink from the bottom up, wicking up hydration whenever it needed it. Together, these two steps created a personal little bubble of constant moisture that basically made the harsh sun a non-issue.
So what happens when you totally nail this golden rule? You don't just get a plant that survives, you get a plant that is so strong and healthy that it actually gives you an opportunity to make more. The result of all this success was a plant that was growing so well, it literally needed a haircut. And for any plant person, that is the best problem to have, because you know what that means? It's time to propagate. So Ang's next step is to take cuttings from that overgrown plant to start brand new ones, which is a direct reward for finally figuring out what it really needs. Now, you can also grow them from seeds, but the plant hadn't bloomed yet. But honestly, with care this good, that's probably just a matter of time. And that brings us right back to where we started. The big secret to this supposedly difficult plant, and probably a lot of other tropicals, is summed up perfectly right here in Ang's own words. It's not complicated.
It's just about giving the plant constant access to water using some really simple, clever tools.
So it leaves us with one final thought. This whole discovery didn't come from a book. It came from just paying close attention. It really makes you wonder, right? What other simple, game-changing secrets are just waiting out there in our own gardens, if we just watch closely enough? What's the one golden rule that's changed everything for a plant in your care?